Good day, everyone. You're welcome on Just Event Online TV. I'm Abdulqadir Isiaq once again on your program, Issues and Reality. And today, we shall be talking about we shall be having some judicial discussion, and I have with me a regular featurer on this program, a constitutional lawyer. I'm talking about Malam Olateju Taofeeq Esquire, who will be taking us through the journey of judicial discussions. And we shall be starting our discussion from the issue recently that trended. That is the pardon that was granted to a lot of people. Some were posthumous, some got clemency from the president of Nigeria exercising his power. I think about 175 individuals, which have raising a lot of discussion from a lot of analyses, opinions from different angles. And recently, the free Nnamdi Kanu protest that stemmed, that some people have said that okay, if we can pardon supposed murderers, drug traffickers, human traffickers, why can't we pardon somebody that has been for most of his time? Some people have regarded him as a political prisoner, but as a legal tutor, a constitutional lawyer, Barrister Teju will be taking us through the journey as an expert. You're welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you, listeners out there.
Let's talk about the pardon. Let's start with the pardon. 175 people, some posthumous. We talk about Mama Vasta of this world. We talk about Abat, Samuel Ellis, Macaulay. We talk about a lot of people. But some people will say that talk about somebody like Mobata. It was a military regime that they do these things they do things with the crew at their whims and caprices. They have little or no regard for rule of law. Talk about the time before independence. That was what happened with about Macaulay. But you talk about people like Miriam Bala. Talk about other drug traffickers, alleged kidnappers that have been convicted. Some people got clemency, some got pardons. So though the federal government has come out that the pardon and everything and the clemency is still going through reviews, but the names are there already. And you know that in the Nigerian media, in the next 21 days, everything that trends now will disappear, and maybe the government will just do everything and everybody will go back to sleep. But as a legal practitioner, let me push this to you. You have worked hard to get justice for your client, for somebody that is bereaved one way or the other, and one president comes and exercising his, I think, constitutionally given authority, just pardon the president. What does that make you? Your sweat, and then your client.
Well, let me start by saying that the power of the president to exercise the prerogative of mercy as enshrined under the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended is discretionary. And be that as it may, the president does not exercise that power in vacuum. He exercises it based on a recommendation and approval by the Council of State. And if you look at the Ulabalu surrounding the recent list of people that the president intends to grant a prerogative of mercy to, you see that, like you mentioned, Mama Vasta, Macaulay, and a host of others like that. You see that there are a lot of things attached to it, some political, some for interest best known to the Presidential Advisory Committee and the President himself. But what is law, and what is settlement is settlement. The President has that power under the law, and that is what the President is exercising. And if you look at the surrounding circumstances, you see that that law, to some certain extent, although to err is man and to forgive is divine. And if you look at what are the main reasons behind punishing an offender, you see that number one is to deter others. Number two is to restitute back to the society, and also to serve as a means of reforming the offender, not to condemn. But if you look at the case of this Miriam Sanda that people have been talking about, you will see that in less than, or let's say about 5 years ago, she's into the court, and after conviction, she's now trying to get out she's now trying to get out from the bar, that is from custody. One will bring in sentiment that of what benefit, or let me say of what import will this have to the society, and what lesson does people who want to, let me say, involve in this type of action or inaction in the future, what will they gain from this type of situation? Well, I want to believe that whatever everybody is saying about it, we'll call it sentiment. Because what the president did, he has done it in accordance with the provision of the law. The law is that there should be a presidential committee on prerogative of mercy, which has scrutinized and gathered list and present it to the president. The president will not do it alone. The president will present that list for the approval of the General Council of the state, which the president did. And after the approval, the president is empowered by the Constitution to grant them that amnesty. But if you look at the issue of Miriam Sanda, you will see that people are talking about it, because if you look at the surrounding circumstances in that case, you will see that a life of a young Nigerian was cut short for reasons best known to Miriam, and here we are today. But there are some people who have argued that the children of the marriage shouldn't be let alone to suffer at the expense of a crime that they were not part of, and that is the more reason why the in-law of Miriam Sanda is clamoring for the release of Miriam Sanda. But the important thing here is it is not too good for our law in this direction, because people will just believe that they can commit any crime, and in less than a GV, they will just go out, they will just go scot-free. So I will use the opportunity to recommend that at least even before you should be recommended for a prerogative of mercy, a convict must have spent at least 20-25 years in the prison before he or she should be recommended for presidential pardon, if need be. Because if you are saying that the hallmark of the pardon is remorse, somebody can pretend for 5, 10, even at times 15 years to be remorseful. We've seen it in some instances in Nigeria, where somebody has been in prison for several years, that it has even attained the position of imamship, it has even attained the position of pastor in the correctional center, and after some let me say extension of the prerogative of mercy to such an inmate, he turn around to go and commit another grievous crime again, and before you know it, he's back there in the prison. So anybody can pretend to be remorse, but if you look at the length of the years, if you look at if it is pegged at, let me say, 20-25 years before they can even recommend you for such mercy, I want to believe that it will go a long way, if not reducing drastically, but it will definitely eradicate the commission of a grievous crime in the society.
So I'm not a student of law, but I'm a very good student of history. I read history a lot. I studied history in school, and I realize what I see is that governance and community and everything is a continuous process. That's why they say that government is a continuum. What I'm trying to drive here is that there was a time in this world where the kings had absolute power. Every kings everywhere had absolute power. till some people started challenging the powers of the king, and then we now have the theories of separation of powers, judiciary, legislature. I remember the issue in the United Kingdom that led to some kings, the Magna Carta, the issue of Oliver Cromwell, and all those things. But to me personally, I may not be a student of law, but I think this prerogative of mercy, as you have mentioned it, I agree that is a constitutional provision, but it seems like a reminder to the old system of somebody having the power, the absolute power to do something. Everybody in the Presidential Advisory Committee and the Council of State are just there as advisors. The person that heads has the absolute power. If the judiciary has the power to convict, if somebody wants to be pardoned, I think shouldn't the judiciary be consulted, and even the legislature to discuss this kind of thing? Don't you think we should have a law? Look at review the prerogative of mercy, the clause, or what do you think?
I think we are still saying the same thing, but in a different way. The what is the essence of us saying that we should look at the law again is because of the fact that we believe that the law is not serving the purpose it ought to serve, by saying that a person that has been convicted for a very serious offense like this, and after spending 5 years in the prison, the person is finding his way out of the prison again. So what the essence of looking at the law is that we know that the law is not that strong enough to absorb the will of the people, most especially in this time of in this type of situation. And if you look at it, you see that although the committee, the minority will not have their say, it is only the majority that will have their say in that committee. And also in the Council of State, I want to believe that as the president, the president definitely will have his way as the president of the Federal Republic.
Has there ever been a president that never had his way?
As the president of the Federal Republic of
Council of
Nigeria.
States.
Exactly. But what we are saying in essence is that the constitution has streamlined, or let me say has dropped the procedure, that these are the procedures. And if the procedures are adhered to strictly, then there is no problem. There is nothing anybody can say about it, because that is the law as it is. Now, if we believe that the law is faulty to some certain extent, it is now our own duty to look at how can we bring in some new areas that will accommodate the fear of the people with respect to bringing sanity to the society, because the essence of law is to bring sanity to the society. So anything other than that is different from what the law ought to be. So in this situation, if we are calling, yes, it is a good call that we should call for that there should be a review of the prerogative of mercy, the process and procedure of coming to a final list. People that should be considered for this type of opportunity or this discretion should be people who really need the prerogative of mercy. It shouldn't be political, because if you, by virtue of the present position you are, you have used government money to finance prosecution.
Somebody was perceived. I just want to push this to you. Somebody was charged to court for stealing public funds. He was meant to pay 150 million naira. You know that's a peanut. I don't want to go into the details of that case, but he was pardoned not to pay that 150 million naira.
You see, the problem is, he cannot be pardoned for not paying.
He has been pardoned.
You are not getting the point.
Okay.
Before he will be released, you see, when there is a sentence, when there is a conviction, there is a sentence. In that sentence, it is either imprisonment or payment of fine.
Okay.
So if you pay fine, you go home. If you are unable to pay fine, you go to prison.
Okay, if somebody is now in prison and he chooses to go to prison and then he gets pardoned, what does that do?
The issue is that that is the position of the law. There is nothing, nobody is above the law. If the law is saying that that is it, that is it. Nobody can change it unless and until the process of changing the law, we follow the process of changing it. That is the only time. And after successfully changing it, that is the only time that the law will change. But the law is that that is how it has been stated. So, and what the presidents want to is to protect, defend, and uphold the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He cannot read the president, with all due respect to him, cannot read another meaning to the provision of the law. So now, as I was saying earlier, that it is obvious that if not for this case of Mariam Sanda, there are a lot of other lacunas in our constitution that we need to revisit. But we are not being proactive about it until this type of thing occur in our daily activities. That is when we will now remember that there is problem elsewhere. So
there are other issues like there are senior lawyers calling that judges should not be given the power to declare winners in elections. They should not be given the power to subsume the powers of millions of people. There are other people saying this constitution do not need review. We need a new constitution. We need a referendum. So how do we take the bull by the horn? Where do we start?
You see, the constitution is a working instrument, and there is no how. It is a product of human being, and since there is no perfection in humanity, you don't expect us to have a perfect constitution. So the only thing that is constant is change itself. So as time goes on, as we graduate from one step to the other, there should be calling for amendment of our laws that will allow us to key in and have a free and developed society. So that is the only time. So if you are saying that we should abandon this constitution, we should do referendum, bring another constitution, with the test of time, that other constitution you are clamoring for will not stand the test of that time. So, but the most important thing here is that as we are as we are upgrading, our laws also should be upgrading. We should be upgrading our laws, so that is the only time that we will have a perfect society. Because laws are made for the society, for us to cohabitate peacefully and to deal with one another without fear, favor, affection, or evil. So, but if that law that ought to be a guiding principle, or our Quran and our Bible, is nothing to write home about, as in this present situation we find ourselves in this country, then there will be problem, and everything will lie solely on the law.
Okay, sir, but you said about law is meant to make us free. But I'll give you the most popular thing that have a free in it today is free Nnamdi Kanu protest. There have been a lot of things. Chivalry has been there. He has met a lot of people. But for you, do you think Nigeria has a business keeping Nnamdi Kanu for that long?
You see, Nigeria has business keeping anybody that is threatening the unity of this country. People are trying to compare banditry, kidnapping with the case of Nnamdi Kanu. You see, these people, these banditries and kidnappers, some of them are faceless. If they can come out openly, I'm very sure that the arms of law will catch up with them and they will be behind the bar. But in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, is threatening the unity of this country. And there is nobody, there's no any serious government that will watch and fold his hands, allowing a threat to the democratically constituted government of a nation. So that is the thin line. Both kidnappers, banditry, and the issue of the unrest we have in the southeastern Nigeria, or in the name of hip hop, they are similar. They are unrest, and they are giving government sleepless nights. But one is obvious, while others, they are beneath. So as far as we are concerned, nobody that is a good Nigerian should clamor for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. What we should clamor for is that they should face his trial. They should conduct his trial timely, so that he will know whether he is duly heard in accordance with the law or he is illegally being detained. So anything other than that, I'm not part of it.
So you believe that, but talking about the judicial process of this country, he has been there for almost 4 years, if not more. Why are we prosecuting for 4 years?
He has been part of person delaying his trial. He has been raising issues with respect to judges trying him, integrity of judges trying him. And if you impeach on your arbiter, before the court, and not you in person. Nnamdi Kanu, we don't know you, but these are the allegations levied against you. What do you have to say about this? This is what you are saying about this. No, this does not outweigh this. So because of this, this is the punishment, and so on. But he has, in one way or the other, he has casted aspersion to the integrity of the judge, of the court, that he doesn't have confidence in the court. So, and by the process of law, if that is the case, if the matter is taken to another court, they will start from the beginning again. So, who is now delaying the trial?
Do you know some people have been clamoring for a political solution? Do you think there can be a political solution into all this?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, there is nothing that political solution, there is nothing that politics cannot solve. Although it gives us more problem than giving us solution at times. But if you look at the agitation of Nnamdi Kanu and host of others like that, you see that it is more affiliated to political situation in this country. And that is why you see that anytime a president is from a different geopolitical zone, you see a non-state actor coming from a different geopolitical zone, all in the name that he is clamoring for the marginalization of his people. Not fully aware that part of his people that he is clamoring that they have been marginalized, they are part of that same government. But the issue that has always been the issue in Nigeria, you see, if the president is an Hausa, let's say for instance now, you see a deadly Yoruba man clamoring for cessation. If the president is a Yoruba man, you see a deadly Igbo man or a deadly Hausa people clamoring for cessation. All it is named that their people have been marginalized. And if you look at it, if you look at the surrounding circumstances, you see that these things are one way or the other politically motivated. And that is why I'm not ruling out the advice, or let me say the position that a political solution should, all what we need is peace and unity. There is no any nation that will flourish without peace and unity. There cannot be progress without peace and unity.
Oshore has come out to say that in an interview, public interview, he said that he has talked to the people from the Southeast, and the elders, the elite in the Southeast does not want him to be released.
Well, that is fact within his own purview. But what I know is that majority of the elite from the Southeast, they are in support of Nnamdi Kanu.
No.
I'm telling you.
He said, he mentioned governors, he mentioned senators that he has spoken with, and he said their body language says that they don't want him to come out.
And now let me tell you something. Our just concluded annual national conference was held in Enugu. I've just been, I always read it that every Monday in Anambra State is sit at home. So one of the Mondays we were in Enugu, a friend now called me that I should come to Oka. So when I was planning to go, another colleague that we were in the conference with now told me that have you forgotten that there is sit at home? I said, there is sit at home that you cannot move. Now, if you are saying that elites are not with Nnamdi Kanu, and his directive is still holding water, that as we speak today, this next Monday there will be sit at home. So who is deceiving who? We cannot just be deceiving ourselves. This is very obvious. Who are the elite? Who are the people in government? Are they not the people at the end of affairs? And a non-state actor is giving a directive that every Monday nobody should do anything. And that order is still valid. He's not a president. He doesn't have any power. And you are saying that the elite are not in his support. May I beg to disagree. I'm not part of any meeting that shows or have any other fact to prove that the elite are supporting him. But with the situation of things, circumstances, the surrounding circumstances shows clearly. Because if government elite and the power that be in that region are not with him, who dares him makes another, and that other will continue to flourish.
But some people will say that he has talked about, when we talk about law, when we talk about referendum, democracy, he's saying these people want to go. Why don't you just allow them to have a referendum to see if these people really want to go? Why are we trying to imprison them in our own?
We are not getting the point. Nobody is saying if one wants to go, there is no problem in you going. But let us ascertain who and who are the people that are willing to go. If you want to go, there can be a peace pact that look, enough is enough. We cannot continue to be together as a country. Release us, let us go. But you cannot, because of the fact that you hold some or let me say you hold some group of people, to now torment some other people who are not in your own camp to go. So that is why the government must give everybody listening here. Nobody is saying that if they want to go, if they are ready, if they want ready, Nnamdi Kanu alone and some of his people cannot say that because of them they want to see a whole of that region. If they want to go, there can be a peace talk. You can have a peace part with the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Look, this is time for. It's not by war. It's not by killing each other. It's not by attacking or destroying property. No, it's by let us sit down. Who are willing? What are the benchmarks? It behoves you just saying that let us start causing problem. So if we start unrest in the southern eastern Nigeria, so then the government will listen to us. If we destroy people's business, if we destroy people's hard-earned income, so government will listen to us. No, that it doesn't work anywhere like that. Even in 1960, when Nigeria want to take our independence, it wasn't like that. It was a gentleman agreement. It was a discussion from one conference to the other, from one meeting to from one thing to the other, one thing led to the other. Not that we just started, no, we want to go, if you don't leave us, we are going to cause problem, we are going to do this. No, it doesn't work that way. If we are starting, if you want to float a nation and you are starting with war, how do you now want that child to be of good behavior? How do you want to nurture that nation? How do you want that nation to survive? No, it doesn't work like that.
Thank you very much. I think even though I always agree with you, but today I think we have quite a number of disagreement. But I think we disagree to agree sometimes. Thank you very much for giving us out of your time. It has been a wonderful moment with you. Thank you very much, our viewers. That has been a very lengthy and educating one. I remember myself once again, Abdulqadir Isiaq. Do have a lovely day. See